The Elgin Police Department is dedicated to working in partnership with the community to promote safety and enhance the quality of life by serving with professionalism, encouraging open communication, and embracing diversity.
Engaged.
Partnering with our citizens and involved in our community.
Progressive.
Embracing innovative strategies while maintaining proven practices.
Dedicated.
Serving with integrity and professionalism. Elgin became an incorporated city in 1854 and installed its first police marshal, George W. Renwick. Over the years, the title of the head law enforcement officer changed from marshal to chief. And although the role has expanded, one duty has remained consistent: to ensure law and order for the citizens of Elgin.
It's time now for Fridays with the Finest, featuring Elgin's current police chief, Anna Lally, on Elgin's hometown radio station since 1949, WRMN AM 1410 and 96.7 FM.
Negative K, nothing further, just Kitty Canby in the corner.
And welcome into Fridays with the Finest here on WRMN AM 1410, Voice of the Valley and the Talk of the Town. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in and joining us today. Thank you, Chief Lally, for also joining us, as always.
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning.
How are you doing today?
Good. How are you?
Doing very well, thank you.
Good. So today I have several guests with me. October starts Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And so every year for many, many years, Joanne Stingley, who is the supervisor of our social services unit, along with the ladies who work with her, are here to talk everything about education, resources, why we do the things that we do, upcoming events, and everything. So there are actually four other people here with me, and one is off camera, but she's going to be talking. So she is, she's not a ghost. She's actually in the room with us. But what I want to do is I'm actually, going to have them introduce themselves, talk a little bit about who they are and what they do and how long they've been with the department. And then I'm really going to kick it over to Joanne, who is going to pretty much run the show today because she's the boss. And I'll pop in when I need to. So with that, so Joanne, do you want to start out, give your introduction? Let's go down the line, ladies, and then we'll kick it back to Joanne.
Good morning, Elgin. I'm Joanne Stingley, and I'm the social work supervisor at the Elgin Police Department. And this is coming up on my 34th year. So, I was here when there was actually a fountain in Fountain Square. So, good morning, and now?
Good morning. I'm Lisbeth. I'm one of the newer social workers with the department. I am bilingual, and I've been with the department for coming on 3 months.
I'm Fabiola, and I've been with the department for 3 years. If you count my internship, it would be 4. And I'm one of the bilingual social workers as well.
I'm Vanessa Body, and I have been with the department like 13 years. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, guys. So I just want to talk a little bit about the staff. Lisbeth is our newest social work interventionist, bilingual social work interventionist, and she was also an intern. I don't think that I just only hire people who do internships for us, because we've had other people who were not interns, but we do. It just kind of helps when they've been there for a year and they had their orientation as an intern and they can step right in and do the JOB. So given that, we just want to talk a little bit about our upcoming, this month we're always busy, but this month is more so because we have our Domestic Violence Awareness Walk. Come rain or shine, we will be doing it. Hopefully we won't get any rain. So hope that people can come out on October 11th to support the Domestic Awareness Walk. I know there's been a lot of buzz. A lot of my friends and colleagues have said they will be at the walk, and we are looking forward to that. I just want to now pass it on to Lisbeth and let her talk a little bit about some of the things we're doing and talk about some of the things that's happening in our offices and the clientele we see and what's been going on with that.
Yeah, so following up on what Joanne said, it is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. So I want to start off by saying if you have purple, wear it, just because it brings a little more awareness. We will be having our annual Domestic Violence Walk next Saturday, October 11th, starting at 10 a.m. It will start behind Civic Plaza. So go ahead and bring any friends or family if you're interested in joining us. There's also going to be some community partners there if you're interested in information about that. And whether it's victims or survivors, we want to bring attention to all. Should I say it in Spanish?
Yes, please say it in Spanish.
And I'll go ahead and say that all in Spanish. So, este mes es el mes para traer atención a la violencia doméstica, que es algo que pasa mucho, y queremos invitarlos a nuestra caminata, que es el otro sábado, 11 de octubre, empieza a las 10 de la mañana. Nos vamos a reunir atrás del Civic Plaza, la Plaza Civil. So traigan a sus amigos, a su familia, para que nos acompañen para apoyar a esos que están viviendo sobre violencia doméstica o si han sobrevivido, porque es algo muy importante.
Okay, so Fabiola, will you just talk a little bit about, you've been one of the major planners behind this, getting all of our resource and collaborative partners together, and what's that's been like. And I think the planning for this, every year we try to grow it. The first year, this is our third annual. The first year I just go, let's do a domestic violence walk. And it was very successful. Last year was very successful, and hopefully this year will be, every year we want to be bigger. Last year I said 700, so we'll see what happens this year. If we don't get 700, we're just going to keep on walking until we do.
So the first year, I think we had 150 attendees. Last year we had 320. So maybe we're going to double it this year. Like Joanne said, there are a lot of community partners who have reached out to us to see if they can have a table. And we tried to accommodate to everyone, but we were really trying to focus the resources towards the survivors and the victims, just because there are a lot of agencies that want to have a table, but we're not. We'll get there. We'll get there eventually. We're starting slow. And it's been great. I was able to connect with all of the community partners maybe 2 months ago, so we have those set in stone. But it's been fun to hear, just like Joanne said, it's the talk, oh, we're going to go to the DV walk. Did you guys go? And everyone's really trying to recruit everyone to join us.
It's really exciting for me, having been in this field so long, and the laws have changed a lot. Because when I started in 1991, domestic violence laws were not as they are now. And I know that it's really exciting when now it's not this secret, and people can actually talk about the awareness and be comfortable discussing their experiences. And sometimes it's very, very hard. And my experience has been with this, when I talk to people about our domestic violence awareness walk, oftentimes they say, yeah, I was there. So it's good to be able to have a platform in our community so people can do that and let people know that EPD is really supporting all our victims, domestic violence victims, and other victims too. But this month we're focusing on the DV victims. And Vanessa has been with us as an intern and part-time, and now she's in her 13 years, she said. So Vanessa, just talk about what your experience has been since you started and where it is now in terms of, what we do and how we do it, and your impression of what has been happening around the DV movement.
Well, like you said, there's just been a lot of changes. Even over the short or the long time that I've been here, there's been a lot of laws that have gone into effect that have kind of helped victims stay safe, get some help. One of them being that we struggle with a lot is the victimless prosecution. So it's good for them to understand that, sometimes they can't keep themselves safe because domestic relationships are so complicated that it's not really up to them. Once there is any kind of evidence of some abuse, the state can pick the case up, and then, so a lot of them who really don't want to do things or, are afraid have a voice to go through the system and, get arrested or get the perpetrator arrested.
So one of the things too that Joanne mentioned that I want to talk about, just from the you had mentioned about the laws change, right? So and I think it's important that that part that you're talking about, victimless prosecution. So I've been a police officer since 1996. When I first got hired here, we would go to domestic violence calls where, clearly there's something going on, and then the person would say, "Well, I don't want to prosecute. I don't want to press charges." And at the time, that's accepted. So I think, to your point, here we are, and I think that changed, 5-6 years into when I was a police officer. So here we are, almost 30 years later. And then it became, there is, if an officer shows up, that if there is probable cause to believe that a domestic battery, an offense has taken place, by law, officers are mandated to make an arrest. And I think that's something that the victims need to hear, because that's that buffer of what you guys have, been on the show many, many times talking about that, that circle of violence. And now if I'm relying, I think a lot of people don't realize that part of, if I'm relying on this person for money, support, housing, and this has been going on, and then I have now add kids on top of that equation, it's not as easy as people say to just go and just leave. And I think you guys have done a tremendous job to be the voice and the advocate for people who, people go and do when they're ready, right? And you guys are here in the background with the support, the resources, the advocacy, the domestic violence walk. Third annual, Saturday, October 11th from 10 to 1. We will be meeting in the Civic Center Plaza, which is behind City Hall. I usually kick it off by giving a couple comments. Joanne gives some comments, and then we do the walk. The walk it's probably about a mile and a half. So it's through downtown. We block the streets. It's a really great way. The weather has been great, but I think that walk, when people see everyone dressed in purple, and it's the community, it's police officers, it's social services, it's all these people, it's community members, it's victims, it's survivors, it's family, it's everything. I think it's a very powerful message to the community that if you are in a situation, that there are people here who are there for you and are not going to judge you, are going to do everything possible to, make sure that you have the right resources. And I think that's the importance of that. It's a very visual representation of our commitment to the community, to what we believe and what we want to do. So, I took the mic from you for a second because I wanted to talk about the police side, right? But I also want to just say, thank you to you ladies for doing what you do, because I tell Joanne all the time I could never do her job, and she said she could never do my job, which is why we do what we do. But you guys are amazing women that do a lot of stuff, and the things behind the scenes that people don't realize. Because when somebody comes, into your office and says, I have all these problems, and now they're looking at you like, right? And now the pressure, you're now taking that on, and because you guys care, you're not going to just, you're going to do everything possible. And I think it takes a special type of people to do that. So thank you, ladies, for what you do. And here you go, Joanne, because you gave me the side eye. So here's the mic back.
I give you the side eye.
You saw that fish eye she gave you. I caught it from this side.
So I just want to say thanks to Chief too, because I go up to her office and I said, let's do a walk, and she'll say, I like it. And if she don't like it, she'll go, well, let me think about it. So she's usually, I like it. Sometime, let me think about it. So given that, I just want to talk a little bit about, and Vanessa and Fabi and Liz, who will come on later, but just can talk about, Liz came on in July, but the stats for this year, Vanessa, I noticed that when we do the monthly report, that they have been steadily increasing since April?
Yeah.
Yeah, so in April, every month, they creep up. So I just want people to know out there that, do not suffer in silence. Call and get some help. Our climate is our climate, but we still are there to help you. So if you have a need and you need to talk to someone in our offices, call our communications, and then call our number, 2-847-289-2686 is my number. I forget it. But make sure that you call. Do not suffer in silence. So do you want to talk a little bit about what you do, how you do it, going to court with individuals, being that supports for them?
So just like Joanne mentioned, like, we're here, and I know we're located in a police department, but don't make that not don't make that the reason why you don't call us, because if you want to meet at the library, we can go meet at the library with you. So clients I see, so we do a lot of court advocacy, because that's a very difficult time to go through, because the incident can happen 2 years ago and now you're going to trial 2 years after. So we're there to support the client. We're there to help with orders of protection. And we're also there to connect them to, if they're ready to go to a shelter. We might not have a place here in Elgin, but we'll find you in Rockford or somewhere else. We're there just to support you in anything you need.
So with that being said, I also want to thank all of our community partners, because we really can't do what we do without connecting with everyone here. So that's mostly what we will do at best when we, meet with you, is try to find what is the best, route for you to take. So, it's really short term or long term, depending on, the case. But our community partners are what we really rely on. So a lot of them will be at the walk. So I really encourage everybody to just come and check out all of the resources, all the wonderful people that work for victims here in Elgin. In Kane County also. And then I also want to just give a thank you to Larkin High School for always being our community partner in raising awareness. A lot of the students get involved in the local jug game. A lot of our Black Student Union, just a lot of students have, stepped up to kind of take the initiative to raise it in their own community at school and in the community in Elgin. So I want to thank them for that partnership.
And that's really important, that we start working with young people around this kind of situation. So educating them, early, so that will transcend throughout their lives. Given the talk about our community partners, I just left the Partners in Peace breakfast that Community Crisis Center sponsor each year. It was at 7:30 this morning, and we were there. But I also want to say that this is their 50th anniversary. So Community Crisis Center has been running for 50 years, and they are one of our main partners, because we do not have shelter, and that's what they do. But we work in a collaborative way to try to help get people shelter when they need it. But their 50th anniversary is coming up, I think, on November 6th, so please support them with that. Our other partners is PADS, the PADS program. They often help us sometimes with people that we need shelter when they have openings, and it's just not always openings in these, and it's sad to say, but it's not always openings in these shelters because of the volume. The need is so high. So just want to say, be supporting both of those agencies for their needs to help us shelter those individuals who need it. Liz is our youngest to this group. And just talk about what your experience is. What did you expect when you walked into the police department as a police social worker? What did it look like for you? What did you think you were going to walk into?
That's a hard question. I wasn't sure. I kind of have a little bit of background. Before I was doing this, I worked part-time as an auxiliary officer. So for 5 years, I'd worked the jail. So I always saw the process and did the process of charging the offenders. So now being on the opposite spectrum, where I'm actually meeting with victims and survivors and helping them obtain resources or helping them get an order of protection, has been very different. I will say that domestic violence is so common. If there's stats available in every city and town, I would think it's probably one of the top 3 crimes or offenses. With that being said, if you know someone, or if you have questions, or maybe you're uncertain if you're in a domestic violence relationship, feel free to call us. And like how Fabi said, it might be a little intimidating because we are in a police department, but that does not mean we're there to take a report. So if you have questions and you're curious, just give us a call. We're not going to report it unless you want us to, or of course there's safety concerns. And then one of the most common things that I think that comes up with domestic violence is the question of, why don't they just leave? Why doesn't he just leave? Why doesn't she just leave? And there's just so many factors to it, whether it's financial, if the offender, the person who's perpetrating the violence, is in control of the finances. That's a really big one. If the victim doesn't have family or friends around who they can go to, it's very scary not knowing what can happen if your partner kicks you out of the home or is threatening to kick you out of the home. When there's children involved, shared children, that's another factor. And it's not always physical, because I think sometimes when people think of domestic violence, they might think, well, he doesn't hit me or she doesn't hit me. It's not physical, so I'm not in a DV relationship. There's so much more to it. There's, again, the financial abuse that I mentioned, emotional. This person's constantly bringing the other person down or intimidating. They might not be physically hitting the person, but they're maybe threatening to hit the person, or they're kind of, let's say, hypothetically punching a wall. A lot of intimidation and isolation, not letting their partner go out for XYZ reasons. So just a lot to think about. But again, if you have any questions or you're just kind of curious, always feel free to call us and ask.
Given that, Vanessa and Fabi, I want you to talk about a little bit about our teenagers and that thing they do with this control thing. You know, that thing when the phone numbers, and it let them know that that is not okay.
The toxic love.
And also, if you guys can talk about.
You got that look again.
I know. 1 second. Also, can you guys talk about, too, because I think it's important to stress that the victims are not always women, too. There's men, right? Can you guys touch on that, too? Because I think sometimes that's the thing of, like, it's more women's. It's anybody, right? So, and then also teens, too. And here you go.
So for the men, victims that I have encountered, it's usually they don't want to say anything because they're like, I'm a male. How am I going to say that she hits me? How am I going to say that she verbally abused me? I'm supposed to be the stronger one. But we try to tell them, like, it's okay. Everyone has emotions. Everyone has feelings. But there are male victims, even if you don't think there are. There are. At some point, my caseload for that month, it was more males than females. So it is out there.
Yes. And of course, the males are just, it's already an underreported crime, but for a male, it's even higher. It's less likely that they're going to report. So we just want to, encourage, like Liz said, anybody who has any concerns or questions or needs some support on some level to understand what's happening, to give us a call to see how we can help.
Teenage.
Okay. Okay, back to the teenagers. I think there's with social media and things, there's like a toxic culture that's pretty popular. So when we're having these talks, there's just a lot of normalizing control and possessiveness, like tracking, going through phones, sharing passwords, and things
Showing
like
up
that.
where they are because they have their location.
Yeah, so those talks are pretty interesting to navigate. So we try to do a lot of just educating on what healthy relationships look like, and we're breaking down some norms here that have been created by social media, I think.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's all for me. I'm going to give it back to the person in charge.
All right. So, So, ladies, real quick, too. So, if let's give out some information in terms of how to contact you. So, Joanne did give her phone number, 847-289-2686. You can also call Elgin PD, 847-289-2700, and ask for any one of these ladies. What about, can I email you guys if you guys want to give your email addresses out? If you guys want to give out. Okay, never mind.
Okay, well, they're all listed on the
really
website.
long.
There you go. Go to the website.
Yeah, they're on the
That's what I'm trying
website,
to
so we
say.
can be accessed.
Go to the
that way.
website. Go to the website. So
Gives the
if you want to
information.
reach out because you don't want to talk on the phone and send an email, you can do that. I think they stressed several times too, which is important, that they are located in the police department. They're the social services division, but don't be intimidated to come into the department, right? And I think that we've through our community, really, our engagement with the community, which has been going on for many, many, many years. It's very important now, especially with everything going on in the world, that if there is something going on and you need help, that we are here to help and to support and to guide and to provide those resources. Thank you to the community partners, too, as you guys mentioned. The community partners are something that we truly appreciate, and we're not able to do what we do without them. And Joanne, the boss, wants the mic back.
No, I just want to say, for our officers in that working relationship we have with our officers, that we are a team and we work together to address these issues. And I just want to say thank you to them for coming to our office to talk about cases they have and to work through them together. Sometimes I read something and I say, hey, could you check this out? This don't look like it's right. Could we upcharge it or do something like that? So, I think that's important. That's an important relationship. And that is what make this work when we work together to make it happen.
And another piece that you ladies brought up, that you're there, yes, you're in a police facility, but if they want to meet you at the library, at the coffee shop, wherever they want to meet you, how special is that? It makes it more intimate. You're meeting them on a common ground because there's so many different things that make things flare up. Look at the sporting events. It's an extra opportunity maybe for people to overindulge. Now they're coming home, God knows however. They're a little bit more messed up than normal. And now look what's going to happen. It could turn into some form of domestic violence. So the fact that you're able to meet these individuals to make them comfortable, like you say, it's an unreported crime in many areas, especially in the males. This is something that really opens doors and you're able to reach more people. So I really applaud you on that concept.
Yeah, and I think a lot of times, too, people think domestic violence and they immediately jump to what they think the stereotype is. It's a woman and it's physical violence. And what I think they're trying to say is it could be a man, it could be a woman, it could be physical, it could be emotional, it could be financial. It's all these layers of things. And you may not even know that that's going on until it gets to a point. So our hope is that people reach out sooner than later and understand and giving that education and giving not only, more importantly, the support, right? So part of that support is coming out on the 11th for our walk. I will be there. These ladies will be there, community partners. So yeah, that's it. It takes us right to the end of the show. So again, thank you, ladies, for what you do. Appreciate you coming on the show. Any last words or goodbyes or singing or anything you'd like to say? Words of wisdom for the day, Joanne. The other thing, I want to mention too, Joanne especially, and I know this, Joanne is, because she's been in the police department for over 30 years, a lot of the people in the police department go to Joanne too as a confidant, as someone that they can talk to, because she's a social worker too. Not only is she a social worker, she's an amazing woman. And I think the amount of wisdom that she has, people will go to her routinely. So thank you, Joanne, for that extra part, because I know that's not part of your job description.
Not anymore. It was
But
like the end.
I know. And people will come and use it. But you mean that I truly, from the bottom of my heart, that means a lot to me that you do that for people in that department. So thank you. So thank you guys too as well. Thank you.
And as flattering as that sounds, it's very important to have that connection. I think the City of Elgin Police Department has tried to make that connection in every single area. Look at the vehicle wraps that are going on. Look at the interacting within the community. Look at all the different ethnic organizational groups that are out there. Where do you see? You see a police officer out there. You don't see them throwing them against the fence, putting them in handcuffs. And I think one of the most important things, as a former police officer, they've changed the law, and I don't know when, Chief, where if there's signs of any evidence of marks on the victim, where the victim would ordinarily, oh, so what's going on over here? Oh, I don't know, not really much. We had an argument. But now if they see evidence of any type of injury, that person automatically gets taken into the station. And I think that's huge. I mean, it may not be huge for the long run if they got to go back home to that, but it wasn't their decision. The police made that decision, takes the heat off that individual, I think.
Yes. Yep,
So
we
I think
talked about
that, yeah.
earlier today.
So I think that's really, really great that has come up that way.
And depending on the case, they may not have to go back home to that, because we talked about shelters and trying to, alleviate some of those issues
Correct.
around sheltering.
Well, anytime you need a platform, you ladies are always welcome here on WRMN.
Thank you.
We welcome you and we applaud all the efforts and everything that you're doing here.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Everybody have a good weekend. Thank you.
Hey, you've been listening to Friday with the Finest, Chief Anna Lally, and the complete crew for domestic violence awareness. And that was Joanne, Liz, Fabiana, and Vanessa. Thank you again, and we're going to see you on next Friday, 9 o'clock.